what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And for today's video, I am going to give you guys some tips on how to survive a general admission Pitt concert. The last few shows I went to were general admission Pitt. They were Fall Out Boy shows, and I just thought I would give you guys some of my tips. Then those shows that I went to, I was second row. And I was fourth row. So I got very close, and I was very happy with that. So I just thought I'd share my knowledge of that with you guys. So basically, I would, everyone has these, preconceived notions that you need to camp out at 8 o'clock in the morning to get anywhere near the front, and that is just completely not true. I would suggest for an amphitheater type show, which are mostly Fall Out Boy shows nowadays, I would suggest to get there 3 to 4 hours before the gates open. So if you had a concert that started at 7 and the gates opened at 6, I would suggest to get there at 3, 4 at the latest, so you can get a good spot in line. Basically, you get to the venue and you see the line, get in the line. So you make sure you're there with somebody, because this will just help so much. If you're not there with somebody, none of my tips really work. You get to the line, you get your spot, you feel good about your spot. And then this is what you do, but you have to make sure you're super quiet about it so nobody else hears that you're doing this, okay? One of your group members stays in the line, and then you go and ask a staff member or somebody who's working at the venue if there are any other entrances to the venue, because a lot of times there can be 2 or 3 or 4 entrances to the exact same venue. So just ask, say, hey, is there any other entrances to the venue? And if they say, yeah, there's one on the other side, then you go to the other side of the venue, check and see if there's even a line there, because sometimes you'll get lucky and end up first in line. Or, if there's only a couple people in line, that's the best, scenario. So go, if that line's shorter, call or text your friend, they'll come meet you, and you'll be that much closer to getting into the venue. If there's not, then don't even worry about this tip, because some venues do only have one entrance, but a lot of these big outside venues have multiple. So definitely keep that in mind when you are, have general admission Pitt tickets, because that could save you, that could be your front row pass right there. All right, so you're in the line of choice right now, and you have 2 or 3 hours until the gates open. So now you gotta sit down. Even if nobody else is sitting down, if everyone's just standing, trust me, you will be standing for hours. Sit down. Another thing you guys could do is go to Walmart, or even if you have one, get a really cheap lawn chair. If this is outside, obviously if it's inside it won't work, but if you're waiting outside, if the line is outside, get a really cheap lawn chair and just sit in that. And then as soon as the gates, right before the gates open, just throw it out. Then you'll be comfortable. But just sitting down is very necessary for general admission Pitt shows, because you get super tired and you don't want to be dead by the time the headliner comes on. So definitely sit down. That is very important. Very important to sit down. All right, so now you've been waiting in line, they finally say, okay, the gates are going to open. Stand up, make sure you have your ticket out, but everything else is kind of in your pockets. If you have a little bag, they usually check in the bags to make sure that's open and ready to go, because as soon as those gates open and people's tickets start getting checked, it's going to be a madhouse. It's going to be a mad dash. It's going to be the 20-yard dash. It'll be crazy. So, make sure you're all set, you're all ready to go. Everything's tucked away and, whatever. So, you show them your ticket, and you're going to see a bunch of people from behind you start running and to try and get in front of you. And that's not cool. You've been there longer, but that's just how it is at every show. So trust me when I say to just, keep a clear head. Don't be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be seeing, blank. Like, I'm going to be seeing Fall Out Boy in 2 hours and just start going absolutely crazy. You need to keep yourself composed, okay? Start going crazy once you actually get your spot in the pit. Basically, once you get your ticket checked and your bag and everything all ready to go, I would suggest to definitely run with the crowd. Like, don't just walk, because you'll end up in the bag and that won't be fun. It doesn't have to be a full-on sprint, but definitely move. Like, don't, because I mean, even if you don't like running or you're not a good runner, just think that this run could be the difference between being 10 feet from Patrick's stump or 80 feet. It's worth it. Push yourself, okay? Trust me, because you'll be super upset if you don't run. You'd be like, if I would have just ran. But anyway, because if you're not running like in the front and like people are running way faster than you, that's fine too, because a lot of times people get distracted by like open merch. There's no line for the merch tables. They're hungry, they want food, they want water, whatever. That happens. So like a lot of the crowd will go to the pit, and then a couple people here and there will just be like, hey, there's a hot dog, like, I mean, that it does happen. So, and another thing too, make sure you keep your ticket out. Don't put it back in your bag or your pocket or whatever. Keep it out. Like, while you're running, have your ticket. Like, if this was my ticket in my hand, like this little heart, just like run with your ticket in your hand. Don't drop it, obviously, but just run because a lot of times for the pit general admission shows, they mark it with like a marker and like they make sure you have a pit ticket before you actually like are allowed in the pit, because it's usually a separate entrance or whatever. So yeah, make sure you have that with you. All right, so now you're at the point where they marked your ticket off. You can see the pit, and you're just starting to like panic. You're like, oh my gosh, I can see it. I can see people starting to line up. The thing you need to do, don't do it right when you get in front of it. Do it as you're walking or running or whatever to it. See like how many rows have formed already. Like, if you're the lucky one and there's like 100 spaces in the front, like barrier, just don't even think about it. Just go. Just take it. But if there's already like a good like mini crowd of like couple rows, try and find a section of the stage doesn't have as many people, because it really, really makes a huge difference how many people are in front of you. You wouldn't think it would, but I was second row in Boys of Summer, and it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible how close I was. And then just 2 rows back, a concert I went to, the difference was people's heads in front of me. Like, you had to like, to see good angles of the bands. And that, I mean, I was still so close. Like, I could see them perfectly, without having to look at a screen or anything. Like, I could just see them, which is amazing. But the experience is better when there's not as many people in front of you. So basically, back to the point of this whole ramble, you have to want to find, like, obviously you don't want to be on the very sides, because that will kind of ruin the experience. Not ruin, but just it wouldn't be as great. But if you see like front and center, there's like 3 rows of people, or like to the left, there's only 1 person. Like, say, but for example, like, I'm just gonna use Fall Out Boy as a reference. Like, for example, if it's right in front of Joe and there's 1 person, get behind them. Like, even though you want to be in front of Patrick, Patrick goes on those stands anyway, or like people, they don't just stand in one spot. It's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, you'll be able to see so much better, and you'll have such a better show, even if you're not front and center like you want to be. Like, that could be your goal. That's an amazing goal, but there's only like probably 7 people who get that front and center goal, and 7 out of like however many pit tickets they sell is very unlikely. I'm not saying it can't happen, because it definitely can. It obviously does happen to people all the time, but just if you don't get that goal, instead of settling for being back here when you could be like here, it does make the show a lot better. Okay, so now you are in the pit. You are excited. You are in the pit. You have a great spot. You're with your friends. Everyone's having a great time, and you realize that you have to leave the pit for some reason. Like, you need water, or you have to pee, or anything. Like, and you're thinking, like, and then everyone around you, all of your friends, your family, you've heard for years and years, don't leave the pit. You'll never get back. But what if I have to pee, hold it, or wear a diaper? This is why I don't drink at all during a show. I'd rather pass out than have to leave the pit. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't. You can leave the pit and still get your spot. This is my tip for leaving the pit. I would say, like, I'm gonna use Boys of Summer again as a reference to this tip, okay? So, I left the pit during the Boys of Summer tour, like, towards the end of Wiz Khalifa's set. So, leave the pit towards the end of one of the opening acts set. Okay, it could be the last song, it could be the last couple songs. Probably the last couple songs, so you want to have enough time. So, leave the pit. Do what you got to do. Buy water, do whatever you need to do. Come back into the pit and kind of stand in the back, because usually they don't sell out the pit because they don't want it to be they want to be able to like move around. So usually there's like a big gap like in the back of the pit. Just stand back there, like enjoy the rest of the last song or whatever of whoever said it is. As soon as their last song is done, start making your way through, because people are going to be looking up and like clapping, or screaming or whatever people do at the end of concerts. And, they'll be like, yay, yay, yay. So you can sneak by a few people that way, and then as soon as the lights come back up and, everyone's kind of talking again, this is what you do. You grab your phone and you dial your friend or whoever's with you, or somebody in your group, you dial them and you say, okay, I'm coming back into the pit. Hold up your bottle of water or your phone or whatever they have. Just hold it like straight up in the air. Hold it up. So then when you're making your way through, you can point, say, that's my friend right there. That's where I need to be. Like, I was there. I had to go, whatever. Just say, that's where I'm going. Like, I have friends. I'm not trying to get in front of you. And I feel like when people see the visual to where you're going, they'll be more likely to move out of your way. Because, like, why would you all of a sudden just come in and be like, yeah, that's my friend holding that up, and I'm on the phone with, my mom. No, they're not going to think that. They're going to be like, oh, okay. Usually they don't even question it. Like, they didn't question it. I did this, and they did not question it. They were like, okay, here, there you go. Go ahead. Like, if they can see the spot you're going to, not just trying to get in front of them. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who do just try to get in front of each other, like one by one by one. No. Just to kind of just say, I'm going over there. That's all you have to say. Like, that's my friend. Like, if they could see you on the phone with them, like, that's it. I'd say 90% of the time, they'll be cool about it. And then, like, once you get closer and closer to the spot where you were, people around that spot will start to recognize you and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember her. I know she was not trying to cut in line. She was here before us. She got the spot before us. Like, there you go. So that is my tip for you guys on getting back into the pit when you left the pit. As they say, it can't be done, but I did it, so it can be done. You just have to be smart about it. And never be rude to people. Like, even if they're being rude to you, just, like, put on, like, the, like, innocent face. Be like, but I'm just trying to get back to my friend. Like, I just, like, or start crying or something. Like, the people will just be like, oh, just go, Once people realize you're not trying to just get in front of them, they'll usually be pretty cool about it. Just like some general tips for when you're in the pit is that, yes, you will get pushed. Yes, your hair will get pulled. Yes, people will rub up against you. And if it's really hot, you'll get like probably 100 people sweat on you. That's just what's going to happen. So, don't wear flip-flops because your feet will get stepped on. If you have long hair, make sure you bring a hair tie to tie it up, because you don't want that, like, when it's really hot, your hair to get stuck to your neck and feel all gross. And like, I have naturally really, really curly hair, so as soon as it gets wet, it just starts poofing, and you don't want like a really embarrassing situation going on, especially if you're like second row in front of your favorite band, all like, woo! No. That would be really bad. Yeah. Even though they probably wouldn't even notice. Maybe. I mean, I'd like to think that they would. But yeah, so so if you guys have any other questions about general admission pit concerts, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. I do see a lot of people are starting to tour, and that's really exciting, and I want everyone who buys Pitt to have the best experience ever. Yeah, so give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. All right, hope you guys have a great week. Bye.